you kind of forget.
Nah. That's hip. Yeah, I'm hip. I was talking to somebody about that shit the other day, bro. I don't think people know how strenuous Olympic workouts be for athletes, bro. So once you like retire and the cleats hang up, man, that shit be hard to work out like that just for no reason, bro.
For no reason,
just
bro.
For no reason, bro. No goal in mind. Like,
yeah. Man, I had a question for y'all real quick.
Wait, hold on. Let me do the intro. Let me intro the show. What's up, Benjamin? Welcome to the press box, my brother. How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you guys?
Good. I'm good. Well, welcome to the press box. Unfortunately, Nadia is not here, so unfortunately, y'all, you guys have to look at me as the host for today. I would like to welcome Bama, Benjamin Garcia, his debut on the show, and shout out to our guy Random. You know, he's here as always. We got a great show for you guys. The first thing I really want to do is make sure we get this out the way. Shout out to our GOAT members, Hermias MR, Terry, IDWC, Avion Plumber. Shout out to our Hall of Fame members. Shout out to our Hall of Fame members and our legend members. If you want to be a part of the Players Choice community, all the info you need is below. And with that being said, let's get into it. We got a great selection of topics. There is a curveball that obviously was just recent news. I have to throw it in here. But with that being said, let's just open the show with the title. Does Deshaun Watson have the worst contract in NFL football history? Obviously, that is yet to be seen, but, we put it in the title to make sure, understand what we're talking about. So Deshaun Watson has not impressed since returning to the NFL. Obviously, for those who know, he played 6 games last season, and so far the Browns are off to a 1-1 start. They haven't looked really – Deshaun hasn't really looked dominant. I think one of the biggest things is that they have a really good team in terms of, like, the talent, run game, and obviously now they have a loss of – they just signed Kareem Hunt after the loss of Nick Chubb. But obviously, the biggest thing about this was the Browns signing Deshaun Watson for the highest amount of guaranteed money we had ever seen at the time for the $230 million fully guaranteed contract. So with that being said, do you see this lack of production by Deshaun Watson to be a constant, or do you see this being something that when by the end of the season we'll look back at this conversation and be like, we might have been a bit of an overreaction?
I'll go first. Well, first of all, Deshaun Watson does not have the worst contract in sports. It's Daniel Jones, and he will continue to be Daniel Jones until further notice. But my biggest problem with Deshaun Watson was the time. A year and a half off of doing anything and then trying to just come back into it at the highest level is tough. It's tough. And it's not like he went into a division that's going to kind of let you, ease into it, man. Every game in the NFC in the AFC North is a slobber knocker, just like it was yesterday. And it was frustrating at times, but I was expecting a kind of game like that on Monday night where I'm like, look, man, it's gonna be knockdown, drag out. It's one of those, like, I can't remember last time the Browns won a game like that for real. Like, think about it. When's the last time they won? The Browns legitimately won a game like that, where I'm just like, come on, you got to win this. Obviously, Nick Chubb going out is tough. But they paid you that money. They paid you that money for a reason. First of all, W work by Watson's agent to get that, especially after he got his first big contract from the Texans, to be able to get it again. So I understand why they did it, because obviously there were multiple people vying for their services. I believe the Dolphins was one of them because Brian Flores was a big fan. But you want to see some return on that investment, but I don't know how much rust you got to shake off, because, man, this is the NFL. We don't got that much time. Especially, I think right now I still think when you look at their team, they're still one of the better teams in that division, but you don't got that much time, man. You don't got that much time. Like, you got to figure this out. We don't got time no more.
Go back.
I was gonna wait to be called upon, but I'll just jump in. You guys just let me know if you guys want me to shut up. But
no, go ahead.
The Deshaun Watson contract, I think when it first happened, even myself, when you take away all the grossness that kind of happened with Deshaun Watson, at first, no, I didn't think it was a bad contract. I think you have to do what you have to do to get the quarterback. Cleveland has not had that guy since, I believe, Bernie Kosar. But now it's not close. The Daniel Jones thing, I'm not sure the axe that he has to grind with Daniel Jones, but this contract, is supremely worse. It is by far the worst contract in the NFL. It might be the worst one in NFL history. Remember, this is something we had never seen before. Kirk Cousins got something like this where he got a fully guaranteed deal for a couple of years. But the Deshaun Watson one, they have, if they just got rid of him, over a $200 million dead cap that they will just not be able to use. It's a debacle. It doesn't work right. And Deshaun Watson, yeah, it is the worst contract in the NFL. And who knows, maybe he does turn things around. If you got Deshaun Watson, top 5 quarterback in the NFL at his peak, ahead 21-0 in the playoffs against the Chiefs, if you get that Deshaun Watson, the contract is more than capable, more than fine. But now, no, it's the worst contract. It doesn't look like it's getting any better. He looks like he's overthinking it. He doesn't have a line that supports him. It's just overall really, really bad for Deshaun Watson.
Bama, your thoughts? Hold on, I want to hear Bama's thoughts. I'm gonna hear Eli's thoughts first. Bama, what are your thoughts on this?
You know me, I'm pro Deshaun Watson. I think they backloaded his contract because they kind of foresaw something like this. One thing with quarterback, you already know it's a position that you really have to develop a rhythm with the guys around you, offensive coordinator, play call, all that type of stuff, quick game. First game, a lot of nasty people that come on the show, they don't want to get a due diligence to the inclement weather. That can kind of mess up your rhythm for us coming along within the offense. Yes, yesterday was kind of bad, but that's a division rival. Those games in the AFC North are always bar fights. Let's not act nasty like this. Every time those guys play each other, they figure out a way to make those games bar fights. Steelers, Ravens, Browns, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Steelers, Bengals. Regardless of whatever game that is, we had the Antonio Brown. So many incidents within that division where you just see that's just the culture of the games when those guys come together and they play. That's just what type of game that you got to get ready for. If you just want to really overreact on a week 2 game with those interdivision rivals, I mean, we can. But at the same time, they backloaded that contract for the reason because they knew it was going to take a little time for him to get into the groove of things. I hated that we in the time era to where you just got to be perfect right now. That's not how stuff works. It only works like that on Madden. It really don't work like that with humans. But Deshaun Watson was essentially paid off of who he once was, whereas your Kirk Cousins, your Daniel Jones, they get paid off the P word, which is potential of what they can do, and they haven't fucking did it yet. Where Deshaun Watson showed you on terrible teams with terrible GMs, with terrible coaches, in the midst of trading away your weapons as a quarterback that mentally can mess you up, but he stayed 10 toes down, and he was able to show you that he could really be a top 5 quarterback in this league. So me right now, while he's in a better situation, bro, I got to give him a chance to get all of that bullshit off on him, bro. That is a lot pending over your head. 23 great cases, bro. Like, that's just not, let's just not act like that's just something that's, oh, bro, I'm gonna just wake up, bro, and brand new, whether he did it or not, bro. Like, even if he is innocent, bro, that just feels weird mentally to have to wake up with that over your shoulders, bro. So we still seeing that from Deshaun Watson, but people could say I'm being nasty or whatever the case may be. Yes, he does have to get his play a little bit better, but if I'm going off a track record, unlike the potential word, I would have to say he's gonna reel it back in sooner or later. I'm just saying.
You gotta.
We was trying.
I'm listening to you because I'm dead listening to you, but your mic, bro, it's like burping, bro. Like, I don't know how to explain that shit, but it's like
I'm trying to be bad serious.
It's not like lagging, bro. It's like because we can hear you. It's like a sound, like it sounds like a burp, like yeah, like it's.
So Benjamin, to kind of combat a little bit. Oh, J-Rod, did you want to go, or can I respond to Benjamin?
I'm host Rob today. Okay. I think I really want to hear what I really want y'all to really have more of the floor. I think my only input would really be I just don't want to prematurely call it the worst contract ever, because at the end of the day, if Deshaun Watson, I think Deshaun Watson has the capability to pick it up. And if we go down the end of the year and the Browns find themselves in the AFC Championship or the second round of the playoffs and Deshaun Watson is playing well, it looks like good return on investment. So I just don't want to overreact or say that it's the worst contract too soon, because I feel like there is still time yet to be seen, because Deshaun Watson at his best capabilities, I do think he's a $230 million quarterback when he's at his best. So, I just don't want to be too premature. Go ahead, Randall.
So to respond, Benjamin, a little bit, I don't have an axe to grind against Daniel Jones per se. It's just that he's not good enough. He's not, at no point in his career has he earned maybe even a second contract, let alone a $40 million contract. And I get that's the price for the price just kind of goes up for every quarterback when it's their time. But the fact that you can obviously say the Mannings played a big part in him getting his second contract than his actual playing ability. We're talking about a quarterback who hasn't thrown 20 touchdowns in his season except for his rookie season. And I get there's injuries and all that, but like he's not good. You cannot say that at one point you were talking about Deshaun Watson being the second best quarterback behind Mahomes. Like at one point in his career, there was a reason why the Houston gave him that money. Plus, after that, there's a reason why after everything that went on off the field, there were teams lining up for his services. So it's tough. If you want to look at this like an injury, like a debilitating injury, like I'm not trying to say like Achilles or anything like that. It's gonna take him time. It's just that, he had 6 games, he had a whole offseason. You'd like to believe that at some point we'd like to see him looking better at some point. But obviously the AFC North is a tough division. It was one of those games, inclement weather the first week. I believe they're playing Tennessee next week. So maybe this week coming up. So maybe Deshaun Watson could look good against Tennessee. I mean, so maybe you could start seeing something, but I just want to see him. I think we're too early on Deshaun Watson. Plus, the Browns don't really have a decision to make. They have to ride this out. They have to figure this out. So obviously they have the right talent around them on both offense and defense that Deshaun doesn't have to really put the whole team on his back. And even with Nick Chubb going out, we saw, Jerome Ford, the backup running back, showed some flashes on Monday night. Plus they got Kareem Hunt, the right guy, who I was going to say if they didn't pick him up, the right guy. He already knows the system and all that, even though I know he wanted more money, but now you have Kareem Hunt back in the fold and we know his abilities as a running back, especially in a backup role. So I think just give him more time. Just give him more time. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, there are you can say Daniel Jones, you can say Russell Wilson. Hell, you could even say Kyler Murray. Like I would even say Kyler Murray before Deshaun Watson, his contract. So that's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, we could sit and talk about Kyler Murray and all the other ones, and I won't get super into that. But Daniel Jones, I'm not sitting here and saying Daniel Jones should have got $40 million because Daniel Jones should not have got $40 million. Daniel Jones, what the economy for quarterbacks is now, should have got somewhere between $30 to $35 million. However, he got way more than that. You're right. The Mannings played a role in it. The Giants ownership is not looking the best right now. They gave him something. But the issue is this, like we've seen Daniel Jones succeed more recently than Deshaun Watson. He did win a playoff game. Yes, that Vikings defense was atrocious. And again, it's not me defending the Daniel Jones thing. I think Daniel Jones is mostly a mediocre quarterback who got about $10 million more than he should have. I think he works well in the system. He's a good athlete. But the Deshaun Watson thing, there was no bigger Deshaun Watson fan than me. But the thing I'm the most fan of is I'm a fan of the truth. And my opinion can change on what the contract is later on. But right now, my opinion is, yeah, it's the worst in NFL history. Now, ask me 6 weeks from now, maybe he's a little bit better. Maybe he throws for 4,500 yards. Maybe he rushes for another 400. Like, that's the capability of Deshaun Watson. I don't know what it is. I've never seen a quarterback completely take a dive in his career at 28 years old. There's literally no precedent for that unless there's a catastrophic injury that we are not wishing upon literally anyone. So Deshaun Watson, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's seeing ghosts. I don't know if he's just one of these quarterbacks that is just extremely rusty. But this is 8 games now. Like, he hasn't been good in half of an NFL season. I'm not sure when it's coming back, and I'm not sure if it's going to. I hope it does. I'm not rooting for the person. I'm rooting for the player. I think the NFL is better with quarterback play in it, and that's kind of where I am. That's why for now it is the worst. And then Russell Wilson is a second, and then yes, Daniel Jones is a top 5 terrible contract. But for right now, yeah, the Deshaun Watson thing, it doesn't look good, and he really needs to step it up if he doesn't want to be seen as a statistic or as one of the worst contracts in NFL history.
Bama, and what's up, Jalen? How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Am I still blurpy?
I think you're good. I think you're good.
Blurpy,
All right. So,
nah, you good. You good.
So this is one question I want to ask everybody up here. What do y'all see from Deshaun Watson? Like, are y'all seeing like somebody that's just doesn't have it up here? Is he making horrible reads, or do they just look like bad passes? Like, because I'll go first. From what I see, I see he makes the correct reads in the office. So that means that the offseason did help. So he's processing the game good enough to go to the right places with the ball. The only thing that I'm seeing that I don't like and what had him at a top 5 quarterback in my eyes was his accuracy. A lot of passes have been getting away from short, skipping, but he's going the right places with a lot of these passes. Yes, sometimes he do throw it in double coverage, but that's what it takes to be an elite quarterback. You got to thread the needle. That's why those guys are at the top of the game, because they thread the needle at an elite rate. So the fact that he's still not scared to take those type of throws shows me mentally he's in a good place to improve upon. And really everything that we looking at and what we seeing right now is pretty much all mechanics, like just motor skills that he just gotta, get the cobwebs off and muscle up. I don't know. Like I'm not seeing worst contract in NFL history play.
Yeah, I don't
sense. Like
if I would add, I would just really say, for me, just to answer your question, and then obviously the rest, Jalen and Random and Ben, I obviously want to try to go next, but I just want to add, really, to me, if you ask me from what I see, I just see a guy still getting his sea legs. Like, to me, I definitely think he has to adjust to the Browns O-line a little bit better. I don't think that O-line is great as I'd had hoped for. I think he has the weapons, like the pick six. I'm not blaming him for the pick six, just because one, the receiver hit both his hands. He didn't catch it. That's one. And then two, I didn't like the route concept. I mean, you running a hitch and then an out to the hitch, like it either. And I don't know if that was meant for the concept. It probably was a miscommunication by the receivers more than the play call, because that really looked like a concept where somebody should be clearing or running a deeper route to clear out one of those defenders there. So I thought that didn't look too great. Obviously, the one towards the end zone wasn't good, and the turnovers weren't great. But I don't want to. I know you said your opinion can change in 6 weeks, but like I said, I don't think he's just going to completely fall off a cliff, and he won't be able to return to what he once was. So because of that, I'm not 100% willing to say I don't see a quarterback that's not worth $230 million, because at the end of the day, for me, it just felt like for every bad decision or bad thing I see from Deshaun, I have seen flashes of, damn, that's the old Deshaun. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why I do feel like he's still trying to figure it all out. And you have to remember, I think the one thing that's not put in perspective for Deshaun Watson is, during his suspension, those 12 games, he couldn't be anywhere near the Browns. He couldn't be in the facility, couldn't be in meetings, couldn't be around his teammates. And so the 6 games that he came at the end of the year, to sit here and just throw him in the fire, that really was more for the fans and, just for him to get some games. It wasn't really with the expectations that by the back end of that season, Deshaun was going to be ready to play in a playoff game or high-level football. So I feel like with just 2 games, I'm still not ready to write the book on what Deshaun Watson has been. And I do see a guy who's shown flashes, but still I think needs to get some games up under him. Jalen, you go next. And obviously, Trent, you being here, welcome to the show, Trent. Jalen, you go next. Go for it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I still think we see the flashes of greatness. I still think we see the athleticism, the arm strength. It's all there. What I'm seeing and what I've seen too, with some of the other breakdowns I've seen, is that he's a little late with his reads. And I know there was a play with it was Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore. Both were open, right? He was looking to both those guys, and by the time he threw it to Cooper, the cornerback was there. They're able to recover and get the ball. So I just think it's really late with the decision making, and I think that's going to come with just more game time, getting comfortable with the receivers. like I said, adjusting to the offensive line, adjusting to his team. So I think with him, it's just I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt of him just not having played enough games. Like we said last season, those 6 games, I'm not really going to count. Like I said, he never really got the opportunity to work with the team beforehand. He just kind of got through in the fire there. So again, in terms of his contract, give us some more time. Now, by the end of the season, if he's still playing this poor, they have a terrible record, then we can really have a conversation, I think, about, what to do with his contract and how bad it is. But yeah, to me, he's really late with reason. It's really mental right now. I think physically he's all there. He still has all the physical gifts. He can still do it all. It's just mentally he's not there.
Ben, you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to ask you a question, J-Rob. When you see Deshaun Watson, and just in the last 8 games, you can't evaluate Deshaun Watson from 3 years ago because he was a top 5 quarterback then. But Deshaun Watson now, when you see him play, you see a $230 million quarterback?
I guess by the play, by the play right now, no. But the thing is, we're asking, is it going to be the worst contract in NFL history? And that's the problem because the first year, last year he only made $1 million off the contract, right? And obviously now this year, you said they could take that $200 million dead cap hit. And right now, Ben, no, he has not looked like a $230 million quarterback. I won't even sit here and try to lie because that's a fact. I'm just saying that I don't think he can't fulfill the worth of that contract. And so that's why I know from how he's played, I haven't seen him. He hasn't shown that maybe he's worth it right at this moment. But I've seen enough flashes to say that I can see one game this year where they maybe, week 3, week 4, week 5. I'm really going to give him maybe 3 more weeks to give him get under his ceiling. Really, maybe 2. I'm really be honest, really more so 2 more weeks. But I think in one of these next 2 games, if it clicks, Ben, I don't think it's gonna click. And next week he's gonna go back to being. I think it's just kind of. I think we're just waiting for the moment where it just kind of all just for Deshaun Watson, it all just comes together finally. And I think for every bad decision, like I said before, I've seen a lot of good ones too, and I've seen him make a lot of plays. He's still that improviser with his legs that he can be. And I think once he stops thinking the game and gets back to playing more with his instincts, obviously he knows how to play the game up here. But I think there's been the break was so long and coming into it now. I still just I will say this, Ben. I believe he can fulfill the value of being a $230 million quarterback. As of this moment, he is not one.
And his next 3 games aren't easy. He has Tennessee, then Baltimore, and then San Fran, the 49ers. Luckily, all 3 of those are at home, so it's not going to be if he finds a way to beat San Fran in particular, obviously we'd be looking in a way, but it's not like he's getting the easiest slate to start off with too, where he can get maybe a subpar defense. We can just
they should have beat the Steelers though. I will admit
they should have beat the Steelers. I still think so, but like I said in the beginning, these are the kind of games. No matter how good you kind of think the Browns are, they just lose these games. Somehow they just find a way to lose them, even when they're the better team. They just lose them, and it bothers me.
Yeah, I agree with you guys that they should have won that game. But the reason why they lost that game is because Deshaun Watson handed the defense 14 points. It was a pick 6, and then the fumble. He's not holding on to the ball. Deshaun Watson, it's one of these things where 4 games I would have gave him, 5 games, 6 games. The speed of the NFL is fast. And the one way that I evaluate quarterbacks, and I kind of like what Jalen was saying, is he's missing some easy throws, a little off target. I don't really see the special plays. And the biggest thing that I see when I evaluate quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson is I look at their feet. I look at their pocket presence. I look and see, what is he sensing? Is he got that 5th sense or that 6th sense of there's pressure right here? But it feels like he's seeing ghosts Sam Darnold style, and he's an inability to see the field. And that's why I think you see a lot of those sails over the wide receivers, throws at the feet. It's one of those things for just Deshaun Watson where I don't see it. I don't see the special right now. I really hope I do because he was a really fun player to watch. But right now, he's on track to have one of the worst contracts ever. It's totally on brand for the Browns. And yeah, dude, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I wanted to give you an example of something, and I want to gauge your thoughts on this. I'm going to give you an example of a quarterback who kind of similarly went through something Deshaun went through, but his outcome was different because he had the opportunity to be around his team for that season and got to sit behind another good quarterback who was running the same system as him. I'm going to go Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb. Michael Vick had spent how many years from being removed from the NFL game as fast as it was. But he had a year. Yeah. But he had that year where he sat behind McNabb, got to be around football again, got to learn an offense. I think Deshaun Watson, in a lot of ways, Ben, to me, from that game 6 that he came, that end of the season that he came into now, I feel like a lot of it has just been like a crash course. Like, go back in, trial by fire, and at some point hoping that Deshaun would get back to himself. And I'm not giving Deshaun a cop-out. I'm not trying to say it's a cop-out, but from that situation, I've seen a quarterback be away from the game much longer and still be able to show that his talent and ability, he can still be a dominant quarterback in that league. I think the worst thing that happened to them Eagles team wasn't that they couldn't win. I think it was Chip Kelly coming in and kind of destroying what they had at that time. So with that being said, that's why I feel like Deshaun, I got to give him a little bit more time because they baptized him at the end of last year. And for anybody to think that they were going to legitimately make a playoff push last year, that's not realistic. It wasn't realistic. He hadn't been with the team. He didn't go through camp and none of that. And then this year, he had a camp. But even Ben, you saw the reports. Some of them camps, he was throwing a few picks. They were talking about joint practices where people were picking him off. And I know that didn't look good in reports, but for me, I didn't know what people expected. It's like you just said, the NFL game is fast. And I feel like, like I say with first round quarterbacks, I'm a very big believer with your first round quarterbacks. You got to let them go out there and baptize them and let them kind of figure some of this stuff out. Yeah, obviously, because that's the only way they're going to understand the reps of the do's and don'ts. Like Anthony Richardson, probably not doing any more running and trying to truck nobody because in 2 games he got rocked. But that's what it takes sometimes. Like those things matter because that's how you learn. So, I just feel like I'm just not ready to write the book on Deshaun Watson because I know the guy we saw for the last how many years since he's gotten to the league. I know that guy is, for me, somewhere still in there. And I've seen him in spots. Go ahead, Bama.
Also, too, like I said, bro, like these NFL GMs and execs, they do they like homework. So this year, his base salary is $1 million. And then next year in 25 and 26 is where he'll get that $46 million a year base salary. They restructured it early where they had turned
47 a year. God.
They turned 47 into a signing bonus for this year. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, one of the reasons why they restructured the contract like that is because it was under Deshaun Watson's rule that one of the reasons he would sign there is he would get a fat deal, and they need to be able to put those first 2 years with a little bit of money because he knew he was going to get suspended, miss a bunch of game checks. It was one of those things where a lot of people thought it was a little gross because they thought he should receive some sort of a punishment monetarily wise, but he didn't get a lot of it taken away from him because he had those first 2 years of like an $800,000 and then like $1 million, if I'm not mistaken, for those contracts. So I wouldn't give the Browns a ton of credit for that. That was more so Deshaun Watson dictating his contract.
Deshaun Watson's agent came in clutch.
Deshaun Watson's agent should negotiate every United States deal with everything because he did a fantastic job with that. If you just look at it in a nutshell, he did a really good job to get him his money.
So I'm going to get off my Deshaun Watson thing right now. I was actually talking to Dub and Real Talk yesterday about it, and I was like, yo, Deshaun Watson is simmering right now. He is so close to getting cooked for me. And I gave him a chance. Obviously, I didn't blame him from last year. He just came to the offense. I didn't expect too much from him, of course. The first game, it was nasty for Burrow and Watson. It was raining, but Watson even played better than Burrow by a mile, and he played very well off the play action. And in this game, even though Nick Chubb got injured, unfortunately, it was a terrible injury, Jerome Ford was still cooking.
Like, oh, my God. Every time I think about that injury, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Are you good? No. I mean, I feel you because that injury looked nasty. I don't want to talk.
Hey, before you continue showing it, I just want to say this real quick, man. Public service announcement to all the running backs in the NFL from first string to fifth string. Y'all boys need to band together and boycott this shit, bro. They undervaluing your position. And as we see with your Nick Chubbs and a lot of other running backs, Saquon Barkley, bro, these are the premier running backs of the league. One hit, you done. And both of those guys, it is a rookie currently making more money than them this year. So the fact that those dudes are on the verge of not being able to play and they are way more undervalued. Bijan is bugging. Don't get me wrong. He bugging. Yes, he is. He's good, bro. But the fact that Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley, who are both proven in the NFL, is making a lot less than them. All the running backs in the NFL need to band together, bro, and boycott this bullshit, bro. Because as you see,
that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother story.
In terms of what they can do.
No, I ain't gonna lie, Bama. We're gonna make it a topic. It'll be the next topic. It'll be the next topic.
I'm just mad, you know what I'm saying? Because Shonen, bro, that shit, like, when I saw that happen, bro, I was just like, damn, bro. Like, I really didn't even want to watch the game no more.
No, that hurt my heart too. Yeah, that hurt my heart.
Especially from a guy as consistent.
I felt the same way.
As he is.
Shonen, finish your point because I want to get to our next topic.
Yeah, with that said, you know, despite that, Jerome Ford was cooking. He was doing a great job holding it down without Nick Chubb. And Deshaun Watson just had to, do his business. And a lot of things that were said is just Deshaun Watson seems hesitant. A perfect example of this. And fortunately, they got the face mask flag for this. But there was an easy conversion where Deshaun Watson just had to run 2 more yards, cross the first down mark, and he ran out of bounds. I'm like, bruh, what are you doing? What is going on in your brain right now? So hopefully he kind of gets that instinct that we're talking about.
Was it a dirty hit? I don't think.
Trent, what's your any thoughts on? Well, just quick though, because I want to get to our next topic, but obviously you just got in here, so we're talking about Deshaun Watson. We're just debating, is it the worst contract in football? What do you see from Deshaun, and what are your thoughts so far? How he's played, and do you think this contract will come back to haunt the Browns?
You can't really say right now yet that it's the worst contract in the worst name ever. Even though he's starting, it looks like he's being cooked. But bro, like I've been saying, he's only been 2 games. Like I'm not gonna give him that last year, bro. He could have been around the Browns facility. Like, bro, you shouldn't even be talking about that last year. If you had him making the playoffs last year, you were just being OD vibes. So now for this year, bro, you gotta let him rock. Now I will say though, he's looked bad. Like I'm not gonna give him that fumble that Alex Heisman got him because it was backside, he couldn't see it. But that pick six, he was throwing. He should have thrown another pick that got dropped. It was just bad play. So, bro, it's only 2 weeks. We got to keep seeing Ford. But if it keeps looking like this, though, damn.
Yeah. You'll look back on it be bad.
Yeah, it's gonna break my heart. But it's just it could potentially be. But you know how it gets. Yeah. The contract can get restructured. So it should get brought down.
But nah. It's fully guaranteed. They owe him every dollar. Yeah. Ain't no negotiation. Hey, I would say,
put some respect on Deshaun 5.
I would say, how much is it fully guaranteed?
All of it. 230. It's all fully guaranteed.
The whole thing.
So
put some respect on Watson's agent's name, Trent.
After this year, he is 47.
Oh, it's 47. Oh, nah.
After this year,
they're gonna have to buy him out like they do coaches in college football.
Hey, at the end of the day, man. Hey, regardless, to me, if let's say this Deshaun Watson, it could not work out. You won, brother. You won the game of life. You won the game of life.
That's another thing. They got to stick this out. They have to.
Yes. So,
especially since they got rid of Baker.
Facts. So, question 2: the Cowboys have dominated the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. Their defense has been making fantasy owners around the country very happy. Right now, as the constructed, are the Cowboys the new favorite in the NFC? And is that Cowboys defense on the verge of entering that 2000 Ravens, Legion of Boom, 85 Bears type of territory?
Let me answer this.
Timeout. Ain't no way. Go ahead.
So go, Trent. We can start. We'll go with you. Go ahead, Trent.
Maybe not 85 Bears and that, but it's looking like Saxonville. Looking like some shit that could really be OD. Now, of course, it's the first 2 weeks. They blew us out the water, and then they beat Zach Wilson and the Jets. Bruh, this team looking still, even though it's the Cowboys on Cowboy, I'll always go by that. But it could be their year this year. I'm all some real shit. No funny shit. It can actually be their year. I came to a realization, Dak is getting a little bit too overhated. Bama, I know how you feel about him. But Dak do be getting overhated sometimes. And this all comes down on Dak. This defense looks great. The offense look really good. If Dak can really keep this up, they're gonna be the favorites to win. They're gonna be the favorites to go to the Super Bowl, for sure. It's them too. I'm not gonna lie, because I know even though Brock Purdy's cooking, bro, the Cowboys is looking damn near legit. It's this you can't deny it, bro. This is probably the best overall team Dak has actually had on some real shit because he actually has a real solid number 2. Not no Noah Brown and shit. You got Brandon Cooks, even though he hurt right now, he gonna come back. But bro, like they can sadly be the real deal.
Well, sadly,
I think
go ahead, Randall.
Is it just me? I think it's really funny that Trent for all these years never bought into the Cowboys, but the Cowboys beat his Giants team who was down 20 to something at halftime against the Cardinals, and then also beats Zach Wilson and the New York Jets, in which everyone talks about as well. That the NFL is as much as a physical game as much as it is a mental game. This is a team and the Jets that just came off of a historically emotional game. They just lost Aaron Rodgers. They won on a last-second punt return. So, pardon me if I'm not on the Cowboys bandwagon to win the Super Bowl when I don't even think they're the best team in their division right now. And so, yeah, Trent, it is kind of funny that like you've watched the Cowboys for a long time.
I said it when I was on Cowboys show. Like, bro, they can still be the legit deal. And it's okay. It's only up 2 games because I'm not gonna lie, that Eagle shit is kind of. It's like what the fuck is going on? Like,
I would.
Weeks. Like,
who have the Cowboys played though? Let's be real.
The Cowboys did what they're supposed to do.
Before we go into the panel free for all, let's chill real quick.
Jalen, the Cowboys doing what they're supposed to do. They face inferior teams and they beating the mess out of them. Okay,
it's cute.
Yeah, but this is what we're saying. Obviously,
the Jets aren't inferior. We don't have a quarterback. Please stop it. Go ahead.
Until you get a quarterback, you are inferior. That's the truth, J-Rob. So this is what I'm looking at. All right. To say that they're best team in the NFC, no. Put some respect on the 49ers name. I will give them number 2. The Eagles have started off looking mad suspect on both sides of the ball. To have Mac Jones do a comeback like that on you on the first week, I get Tom Brady was there. I get it was highly emotional, but I think even Patriots fans should know that game should not have been as close as it should have been, even giving how great Bill Belichick is as a defensive mind, in my opinion. But we're gonna learn here in a couple weeks when they go to San Francisco, and that game will answer a lot of questions for all of us up here in regards to Brock Purdy, in regards to Dak, in regards to which defense is the dominant one. Because I don't want to put them in that Legion of Boom 2000 Ravens territory, but Saxonville, you want to talk about a great forgotten defense because they just couldn't even make it to the Super Bowl, but they could be right there. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They handling business. And who they got? Oh, Arizona. That's another wipeout. So we won't really know anything about them. I know they got New England after that, but they should beat New England. San Francisco, that's the game of the weekend, week 5. That should be the first kind of big statement that both teams can make. For real.
I'm glad you.
Before you go, Shonen, do you know who just pulled up to the show? It's DP Too Nice in the building. You gotta put some respect on his name. Shout out to that man, DP. So Shonen, we gotta just make sure we throw him the question so he's kind of in the mix with what's going on. Then Shonen, you follow up right after him. So DP, my dog, the Cowboys have dominated the first 2 NFL games of the season. Their defense have been making fantasy owners very happy. Are the Cowboys the favorites to win the NFC right now? And is that Cowboys defense entering 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens, Legion of Boom levels as a defense?
I think the Cowboys have been killing it. They played the Giants. They played the Jets. Obviously, you have to understand what quarterbacks that they have played, right? But I know when you play sports, the mark of a good or a great team is to beat down the teams you're supposed to beat down.
Facts.
So don't make it seem like I tell people, no, just because they beat the Jets and the Giants does not mean that they're going to be the Super Bowl contenders. But we also just seen the Bills lose to that team. And we talk about, it's going to be the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Bengals in the AFC every year. But now the Cowboys go and beat that same team. Mind you, think about this. The Bills lose to the Jets when they're on a mindset of, we got Aaron Rodgers for the game. And Zach Wilson has to get thrown in there. Not thinking he's going to play, right? He's not thinking he's playing that game. And you still lose. At least Zach Wilson had time to know that he was going to have to play in the week. And the Cowboys go play that same team and dominate them. The Giants haven't been good either. They made the comeback versus the Cardinals, but it is what it is. I will say this. The Cowboys can't be the favorite until they knock out who are the two favorites, I believe, the Eagles and the Niners, and they got the Niners week 5. I will say if they beat the Niners, they are now the favorites for me because the Eagles don't look like that same Eagles team. The Eagles, I feel like every few years I keep catching that lightning in a bottle for that year, you know what I mean? And they got a great team, but last year was a great run, just like when they won the Super Bowl. They've come out a little lackluster coming off the Super Bowl loss. It happens to most of the Super Bowl losing teams. But if the Cowboys beat those 49ers, and if they look good doing it, I'm not even a Cowboys fan. I just be trolling Cowboys fans when they do good, bad, and everybody else, because it's just so easy to do, right? Just like it's easy to get everybody else mad about saying the Cowboys are good. But if they beat them, they are Super Bowl favorites for me coming out of the NFC because those NFC. Because think about it, it's the Cowboys, the Niners, and the Eagles. Mm-hmm. If you beat the Niners, who I think would have beat the Eagles last year if Purdy doesn't get hurt, because that Niners defense and their offense is clicking. You got to be the favorite at least right now.
I like it.
I like it. I can't.
Let's Shonen go because he didn't get his takeoff. I want to make sure everybody goes because I want to hear from Jalen, Ben, and Bama as well.
Yes, sir. So, a lot of people are saying good stuff, and a lot of people are recognizing that they played the Giants and the Jets, and they played two offensive lines that people think are suspect, and they played two quarterbacks that are not the greatest. So it's going to be hard for me to say that they're going to be in one of those iconic name teams that transcend NFL football, like the Legion of Boom. Maybe Saxonville, like that, but we'll have to see more of that, of course. Mm-hmm. So the Cowboys are definitely could benefit from two things at the end of the day with the schedule. And if we're being completely honest, the NFC this year is so weak. If we're just being completely honest, the Eagles are looking a little suspect. I don't know what's going on with Jalen Hurts. And the only real competition is the 49ers. And we have to hope that Brock Purdy in his second year is going to be good enough to deal with this Cowboys defense in the playoffs. So honestly, even though I don't want to say that, because out of every team in the NFL, the one team I don't want to ever win a Super Bowl, call me a hater, I don't care, is the Cowboys. I never want to see the Cowboys.
I'll never hear the end if they do, man.
Never.
I swear.
So, but with that said, this is the best chance. This year is the best chance for Dak to make it to the Super Bowl. Will he win it? We'll see, but to make it for sure. NFC is pretty easy.
I have a question though. With the NFC being weak, I would say that's what we thought coming in. I would say their teams have outperformed the AFC teams right now that we thought would be good. Mm-hmm. The Bills lost to the Jets. The Bengals are 0-2. The Chiefs lost to the Lions. And then Jacksonville then lost to the Chiefs. I would say the big three in the AFC have been a lot weaker than the top three in the NFC.
But I was gonna ask that question after what these three were gonna say, because I was gonna ask you guys on the back end, aren't we right now? Don't you think we might be overrating the AFC right now? Because them teams are not looking as dominant as we hope for. Don't forget the Chargers are also 0-2. There's some teams out there that are not looking so hot. So I just want I agree 100% with DP.
A lot of parity.
There's a lot of
Miami's the
right
class of the Miami's the class.
And Miami is shaking. The Dolphins are
shaking
shaking the room. But Jalen, Ben, and Bam, I want to hear from y'all. Jalen, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, with the Cowboy thing, it's just like I said. I think we need to calm down with the defense because they played two. I just think really, really bad teams in terms of quarterback play, offensive play. So but then looking at their schedule, I don't really see them playing a ton of elite quarterbacks. I mean, you got Cardinals, Patriots, 49ers, Purdy. Like it's cool. Like Purdy's fine. I wouldn't say super elite. Chargers, Herbert. I mean, he can maybe do something. You got Stafford. The Rams' offense pieces quite, aren't elite. Eagles looking a little shaky. Back to the Giants, Panthers, Commanders twice. I mean, this Dallas team, I hate to say it, it seems like they're going to be a 13, 14 kind of win team. I don't see them. I just think they're not playing a lot of tough competition. The quarterback play is not going to be there. So defense is good. I want to see what they do, even if against a guy like Herbert, Stafford, and Purdy. See what they do in those 3 games. Those 3 games, I think we'll see what the defense really is. The next couple of games, they should dominate, and the hype train is going to be right up there. And the next 3, hopefully brings them back down to earth, but we'll see. But in terms of being a favorite, I mean, I just think with the parity of the league, I think it's fine if they're the favorite, even the entire league. Like I said, I think we'll talk about it later. I just think with a lot of these contracts, how they're going to these quarterbacks. I don't think people realize what these other teams have to give. When your quarterback's getting paid $40, $50 million, the pieces you have to give up on your team, whether it just be like even depth pieces, guys that come in when you're starting, when you're starting defensive ends are tired, those guys that come in, when the safeties, when they're tired, the secondary safeties that come in, you have to get rid of a lot of your depth to pay these guys. So I think a lot of this parity has to do with a lot of the quarterbacks getting paid $40, $50 million and teams just not being able to keep a lot of guys that aren't like the big names, but are needed to win games.
Right. Like real quick, J-Rob, let me just say this real quick. So Jalen, if you go back and look at that 2000 Ravens defense, they didn't play a lot of elite quarterbacks either. Why they're known as the domination that they put down. So if they're able to be that dominant,
I think with that
wasn't
2000,
the era.
I understand, but even I'm saying elite quarterbacks for that time.
Yeah, you was dealing with more running backs, bro.
I understand.
The time of the I formation of power football.
Yeah. I understand that.
But I want to hear what Ben. But I want to hear what Ben. But hold on, I understand that, but I don't want to veer off too far because I still want to hear what Ben. Like we have questions, y'all. Everybody got to answer these questions. So I understand you want to add, but I want to hear what Ben and Ben got to say.
My bad.
I'm just not drinking the Cowboys Kool-Aid like everyone else. I mean, we've seen this over the past couple of years, guys. They beat up on a bad division for a few years. Last year, the Giants were up. Last year, the Eagles were up. But years before that, they were beating up on a bad division. This is a team with a quarterback. You can call it hating. Again, I don't care. I simply don't hate any team enough, or there's no team in any sport that I can bring myself to hate. It's just truth. And you have to tell yourself the truth. Dak Prescott has mostly not been good in the playoffs. I'm not going to expect him to be better now in the playoffs. He has 2 games with a passer rating over 100, 1 game against probably one of the worst playoff teams in the history of last year in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sure, they were led by Tom Brady. They were a shell of themselves. I believe they won that division going 8-9 or something. Just absolutely terrible. The Dallas Cowboys defense, yeah, it's good. And their skill players are good. Their skill players are good enough to win a Super Bowl. But in my opinion, you have a quarterback that you've seen cannot get it done in the playoffs. Dak Prescott is not capable of winning multiple playoff games in the same year. I'm not going to change my mind because we haven't seen that yet. And also, why are we discounting the Eagles? I don't get it. Yeah, guys, they didn't look great against the New England Patriots in week 1. Okay, it's week 1. And guess who does well against young quarterbacks better than anyone else? Watch Zach Wilson this weekend. It's Bill Belichick. And then the next week, guys, it's Thursday Night Football. They took a huge lead. It came down a little bit. The Vikings are better than you think. Kirk Cousins has been awesome this year. Justin Jefferson's been as advertised. Until the Eagles get knocked down by the Cowboys, I'll go ahead and jump on the bandwagon with you guys. But right now, they're the second best team in their own division. They're a really good team. Both things can be true. But they're still behind the 49ers by a lot, I might add. And they're behind the Eagles by a good margin for now. But I'm not going to drink the Cowboys Kool-Aid. They're going to play my Arizona Cardinals and Josh Dobbs this weekend. Hammer the line of -12, guys. It's going to be bad. And by the way, Cowboys fans, thank you for the #1 overall pick. We're going to need that. It's just the issue right now with the Cowboys. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid like everyone else until they've actually proven it to me in the playoffs in January, like they still haven't done with their quarterback.
You're a smart dude, Ben. W Ben in the chat, man. That's a smart dude right here.
Cowboy fans do not like me, but whatever.
All right.
Well, I'm looking for the downfall.
So,
I'm worse than you.
I like I said, I'm damn near like Ben, bro. I can't do it, bro. Like I literally can't do it. The reason why I can't do it, first off, for me and especially the Cowboys, they got to show me they can beat some of them quarterbacks that you're going to see in January and February. You're going to have to show me that you can beat Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, your Joe Burrows, your Patrick Mahomes. We're going to watch them games when they play Brock Purdy. Like, you're going to have to show me that you can consistently beat these guys on a consistent basis throughout the regular season.
Damn.
Kool-Aid.
That Cowboys, they should try to shut Bama down.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
You straight?
Bama, can you hear us?
You good, Bama?
I hear y'all. I'm trying to make sure I'm good. I'm at work, bro.
We hear you. You good?
Yeah, we hear you.
But yeah. Am I choppy?
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh yeah, I'm at work, bro. You know, we ran Players Choice ran by Victor Sweet, and they don't care if you You work, you in jail, you got to get on the stream and talk some sports. But anyway, man, as I was saying, with the Cowboys,
it's crazy.
With the Cowboys, dog, I'm not buying it, bro, because they show us this every year. They beat up on quarterbacks that won't make it to the postseason, probably won't even sniff the postseason. I want to see a little bit more week 5 when they play Brock Purdy, when they play Justin Herbert, when they play Jalen Hurts and some of these guys. I don't care that the Eagles looked out shaky. Me, myself, personally, they was coming from the Super Bowl, so everybody got to show us that they could beat Philly first. And like I said, like Ben said, they haven't lost yet. If you just want to overreact by a couple close games by good teams, go ahead and right ahead and do it. But yeah, I'm still not buying the Cowboys. Also, with what y'all said with the AFC, the reason why I'm not buying it, now where the NFL is a quarterback-focused game, dog. And the AFC, them being so quarterback-heavy, bro, a lot of those times when they go up against those defensive matchups, dog, them defensive coordinators is selling out to force someone else besides the person that's up on the center to beat them. That's not necessarily the case with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys can really essentially go out there and run a free offense until the playoff time where they be like, yeah, we're going to force Dak Prescott to beat us. And then that's when the Cowboys come up short every time. But throughout in the NFC, no expectations within that conference. Of course, not very good quarterback play. So when you come out with a game plan, it's just a solid game plan all across. But I guarantee you when the playoffs roll around and they start focusing in on Dak and Dak is gonna have to be to the point to where they're gonna make Dak beat them, man, it's gonna be bad, dude. I don't see it happen. I'm not buying the Kool-Aid. I agree with Ben.
All right, can I ask something?
Go ahead, ask, because I wanted to answer the question first before we go. But go ahead,
Because Jalen, you brought up like the competition and the people that the Cowboys are playing at. Granted, it's Dak Prescott, but we didn't keep the same energy with the Eagles last year when they was dominating and how dominant their defensive line was looking, and how that defense is looking. This could be another year where Dak doesn't have to do too much because this defense can really be best in the league like last year. Because last year the Eagles set like 70 sacks last year. The Cowboys can do the same shit this year, and they can even do it better. Michael Parsons going crazy. That defense is crazy. But my thing is that, like, I'm not gonna lie, like Ben, when you said like the 49ers like basically cleared them and Eagles the company, I don't see it, bro. Like what makes me think that Cowboys can actually beat something is this defense, because Dak doesn't have to do that much to win a game. Like I gotta, and that's why it's only two games, but this defense is looking like they're going to be the outlier, and Dak can just do what he has to do. And they already have an elite offense with CD, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
they have everything they need, man.
Exactly.
I just want to see Dak in a close game. I want to see them in a close game, not a blowout.
That's why that week 5 game is going to be big.
You mean Jalen Hurts played last year with doo-doo, but nobody said nothing.
On the biggest stage last year, Jalen Hurts.
Let's just keep it football. Let's not even go into Jalen Hurts. Let me just answer this question. Let me go. Hold on, Trent. I got something for you, Trent. I got something for you real quick. Let me just take a sip.
You thirsty? Yo, come on, bro.
Get ready to cook.
You know what that was? That's some of that Cowboys Kool-Aid, because I need more of it. I need more of it. You feel me? Yeah, I need more of it, because I'm going to just tell you right now, the Cowboys are the best football team in the NFC. I don't really want to. I understand that the Eagles and the 49ers got the benefit of the doubt because of what they've done in the past, and that is for sure. If you're the winners, if you always at the top, you deserve that benefit of the doubt. But with that being said, and with high respect for both teams, that defense over there in Dallas is coming. And I stand on this shit. Defense wins championships. That is a championship level defense. And the only question mark I have about the Cowboys right now is that goddamn quarterback number 4. And if he can go into the playoffs and change the narrative about himself, I really think as of week 2, from what I've seen, because I don't think just because they played the Jets and they played the Giants, I'm overreacting. That defense absolutely did what it was supposed to do. and that offense on both ends did absolutely what it was supposed to do. And I'm going to say this about the Jets game. The way Dak played outside the one throw that Sauce probably should have picked six, to me, against a really damn good defense, he played a really good game. He played within the system. And shout out to the head coach, because everybody gave him a lot of flack for making Kellen Moore the sacrificial lamb and their lack of success going to the Super Bowl. In the last 2 weeks, he looks like whatever he's doing, he's getting the most out of Dak. And I love the way they decided to use CeeDee Lamb. Put him everywhere. Put the ball in his hands. Because when it comes to just a receiver run after the catch, I can't name three better. Okay? With the ball in his hands after the catch, there's not three receivers. Yak-wise, I'm saying better. The only one, I give you Deebo Samuel, but after the catch with the ball in his hands, CeeDee Lamb is top three when it comes to this yak. And so with that being said, I'm taking these Cowboys to make it out of the NFC. I can't believe I'm saying it right now. But I 100%. I know Joy Taylor hates Dak Prescott, but I'm rocking with him right now. I'm rocking with him right now.
Can
I know
we
Dak
all
got
agree?
some juice. I think he got some juice to him.
Can we all
Looks
agree in
good.
2023 that this notion that defense wins championships, that's old news? The team that pays their most money, the number one team allocated defensive wise, and number two are the Chargers and the Steelers. Both are getting carved up. The Steelers are not good right now. Their offense, I bet you they wish they allocated more dollars.
The Chargers is that defense, even though they allocated a lot of money, don't do that. Because if you allocate a lot of money, hold on, because we got to get back to our topic. But I just want to say, because you allocate a lot of money to a defense, that don't mean the championships don't matter. You just allocate a lot of money to the wrong pieces on that defense. That could also be. And the other thing I got to say, did you not watch Tampa Bay and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? That was a domination by a defense. And that was a
crippling Chiefs offensive line. They had three offensive line missing in that game.
But that was still a domination by their
defense. What I saw last
year
year was an Eagles defense that had four guys with 10-plus sacks, the first time that had ever happened in NFL history. And the Chiefs in the second half would not be denied.
Okay, and so let's use the context you use, because you said they had a crippled O-line. What did the Chiefs have the year against the Eagles? They had the best O-line in football. So it goes.
No, the Eagles had the best O-line in football.
No. That Chiefs O-line did not give up a single pressure in that Super Bowl to Mahomes. They couldn't get home. That O-line played.
That doesn't mean you're the best. That doesn't mean you're the best offensive line.
You could have literally, on paper, you could say that, but that Chiefs O-line had been phenomenal all year long. Outside
by every metric during the regular season, man,
I could give you the Eagles. I could give you the Eagles on the paper, but to sit here and say they weren't in the same tier, I'm not going to lie. That's ridiculous. Okay, so ultimately, it's not like you can say we're talking about the best O-line versus the third best O-line. There's not still much of a difference. That O-line was still great.
Yeah,
so we can use the same context in favor of the Chiefs. But I do want to get to this next question. Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Because I think they are a team right now that's hot, and we got to start making sure we pay attention before we look back on this and be like, we missed on the Rams. So Matthew Stafford and the Rams have looked good to start the season. Puka and Tutu, the best two names in football right now, have looked like the league's next young new wide receiver duo. And with that being said, with the Rams' early success and the way they've looked so far, do you think Stafford should start being considered more in that top 5 to top 7 range as a quarterback in this league?
Can we list
let me go with top 5. Let's start with somebody different. Let's start with Jalen on this one.
Yeah, I think Matthew Stafford 100%. I think he has a track record now of having a lot of elite seasons, of wide receivers having their best season with him. Talking about Cooper Kupp. We want to talk about, even with Calvin Johnson when he was there. Let's go a couple other guys with the Lions. So I think Matthew Stafford is a top five quarterback, definitely in the conversation. I think after Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, is he that fifth guy there? I think he can be in that conversation. I think he's definitely in that conversation. So with the start, like I said, they've looked great. The young wide receivers are stepping up, making plays. I think this is a team. They still have guys with championship experience. They just won a Super Bowl a few years ago. Few players are different, but they still have some of their core pieces there. So I think the Rams could be. I don't think the Rams are a team you want to play in the playoffs. Because I think an offense led by Matthew Stafford and a defense with Aaron Donald, they can win a game against anybody. We saw they almost won a game against the Niners. So they can beat the Niners. They can beat anyone in the league. So yeah, I'm with that. I think Stafford is a top 5 guy. I'm not mad at it at all.
I mean, I don't think that, but I guess it's not really a troll to J-Rob and Bama, but I will say, for all the people, all y'all think that winning is a quarterback stat, why Matthew Stafford isn't in that conversation? I don't think he is.
Facts.
I don't
talk about it.
I don't think he is because I don't rank like that. But for y'all who think winning is a quarterback stat, hey, maybe Matthew Stafford is in that conversation. But Matthew Stafford, that he's a top 10 quarterback when healthy, for sure. But I don't think he's in that like 5, 6. I don't think he's in that conversations. But he's still like that though. Don't get it twisted. Because I'm not gonna lie, I thought his elbow was fried because a lot of people don't come back from those injuries, and the fact that he's able to do that, that's kind of crazy. And he's doing with Puka and Kuka.
Shout out to his doctor for real.
Even though Puka, let's say nobody really talk about Puka. He at BYU, right? Because he was going crazy, right?
He was going crazy at BYU too.
Yeah,
I remember
going crazy at BYU, but people wasn't really tuned in.
You got to stay up late as hell to watch them play.
Exactly. Yeah, and then Tutu is. I didn't know Tutu was going to do like this, and they ain't doing anything right now. And then I'm not gonna lie, when Cup come back, oh damn,
they can take their time with Cup now. They
can do, but hold on, my question. But I'm not gonna lie. I know the Rams organization, with Cooper Kupp's injuries, they might start looking at Cooper Kupp like
trading him.
Might have to cut him.
Not cut him. Not to cut him, but they may end up. We'll get into that in a second. I want to hear somebody else.
I want to quickly add what's the Matthew Stafford, the wide receiver thing. So best wide receiver ever with Cooper Kupp, one of the best. Second best wide receiver ever, Calvin Johnson, 2012. Kenny Galladay, a top 10 wide receiving season in 2018 and 2019. We've seen what Kenny Galladay is without him. Golden Tate had a 1,300-yard season with him in 2014. And Marvin Jones had 3 9-touchdown seasons with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford has a track record of getting the best out of wide receivers now.
Facts.
And it's happened for.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
It's a good point. But real quick, throw Calvin Johnson out because he'd do that to anybody.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, he's doing that with anybody.
I'll give you that.
There's a reason why he was a first down Hall of Famer.
He might go wide receiver.
Hey,
Stafford.
He could have had Zach Wilson. Let me chill. Anyway,
I don't know, bro.
So with that said, Matthew Stafford, when coming into the league, I had Matthew Stafford top 10. The only reason why he fell so far is because he got injured last year. Before last year, I don't know about y'all, but before last year, I was pretty clear that Matthew Stafford was top 5. Matthew Stafford was behind Mahomes. And then it was really a question Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. And the question was Joe Burrow or Stafford 2 years ago, honestly. And coming into the season, I didn't know how he was going to look. I'm with Trent. The injury, I was expecting him to kind of be, being very conservative. But this man is throwing dots, bro. He's throwing it right on the money, throwing the receiver's hands, throwing them open, and it's impressing me to the point where, especially compared to current quarterbacks going on right now, if we're doing a current ranking right now, Joe Burrow got his injury, of course, and I'm not going to name some other names just to be fair to some people over here, but Matthew Stafford and what he's doing at the quarterback position, especially with the receivers that we're talking about, I don't know the argument of him not being top 5 other than recognizing last year for Burrow or Herbert, I guess. So with that said, Matthew Stafford, he's back in that discussion, doing what he's doing with this team that everybody thought was going to be one of the 3 worst teams in football.
Right.
Matthew Stafford top 5 for sure.
I think Matthew Stafford definitely has to be up in that conversation because at the end of the day, he's working with very young receivers. They have talent, but young receivers. And we know talent doesn't always equate to being good in the NFL at a young age when you don't have that other veteran receiver presence to kind of lead. This is a group of young guys. And Matthew Stafford, like I said, with Calvin, regardless, Galladay, Golden Tate, you got Cooper Kupp. Everybody Stafford has played with has benefited from him. Matthew Stafford is actually from out here in Dallas. He went to Holland Park. So we knew about Stafford and heard about him when he was growing up, coming through high school. He was a dog at Holland Park. I believe he was the number 1 player and the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. Went to Georgia. Did good. They didn't win any natties there, but Matthew Stafford obviously was the first pick. And then anybody that's went to the Lions, we see how that goes. You have two of the greatest football players ever to retire early because that's how bad the Lions organization was, right? Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders is having his documentary come out about him retiring early because of that Lions organization. Immediately leaving that trash organization, Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl, right? And then he gets hurt, we know that, but then he comes back and it's not even about the receivers, it's the organization, what's around you, and the culture. He's now taking an organization who's better and they're winning games with him. Matthew Stafford has always been a great quarterback. It was just that he was in a terrible organization, so you just start throwing it to the side. Or you just stuff in the stat sheet. You're stuffing the stat sheet. Compared to a Herbert, where I feel like he has everything around him on offense. Plus, they might not have the greatest defense, but they got some guys on defense. There's more of a team around him than what the Lions was bottom of the barrel. We're trying to win a game. There's a difference, right? So I think Stafford has always been a guy, but when he got into the league, it's like you're playing for one of the traditionally worst franchises.
It does. Go ahead, Randall.
Yeah, it does. It does. The one thing we could always say about Matthew Stafford is like there was a lot of talent there. There's a reason why he went number one, and that's when you're talking about a player just being beset by the situation he's drafted into. Sure, they got him a generational talent in Calvin Johnson, but you just see like it's crazy when you just look at what the Lions have done. When you just look at what the Lions have done to him in particular. Also, by the way, W statue by the Lions though for Barry Sanders. That's a hard statue. I need to see.
Yeah, facts.
But to see him go to an organization that's going to be like, you know what, man, we about to do everything we can to make sure you win. And obviously, you do it with Cooper Kupp having one of the best wide receiver seasons ever. It's no shame when you look at the top 10 quarterbacks right now. Matthew Stafford should definitely be in it. But also, if you want to go like up to the minute, there's some people leaving for sure, and some people entering. Like for instance, is Joe Burrow a top 10 quarterback right now?
Yes,
but then,
he's hurt.
So you're saying that, but then like where you're looking at like where's Tua coming in? Where are these other quarterbacks? And like two like for instance, right now, if you look at the AFC, Tua's been the best quarterback at the start of the season. He's been the best quarterback in the AFC. If you want to do like,
I mean, if you talk about numbers, I could argue Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar.
I would take Tua over Lamar by
Now I will argue Lamar. I mean, the first game, Trent, but when they played that second game, though, he was balling. Now, only reason you could tell the first game, really, Trent, they just wasn't finishing the drives with touchdowns, and I just think that's because none of them played preseason, bro. That's why I'm a guy that say all the starters got to play the last preseason game at least, just because you got to get that timing down.
Get at least one.
But here's my other thing to add, just from the question. I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually the quarterback I've been the most wrong about of any quarterback was Matthew Stafford. And I'm going to come up here and admit that 100% because and this is why I love sports, because sports is what have you done for me lately? You know, everything could change based off what are you capable of doing. And I look at Matthew Stafford, bro, Jalen hit it on the nose. That's not a team that I want to play in the playoffs, no matter what. Because there's three things that I know about Matthew Stafford. He going to take shots. He going to take shots. He going to take shots. That much, he going to throw it downfield, and you're going to see Atwell and Nakua, and then you get Cooper Kupp. Like, that offense is dangerous. And I said this on Open Field last week. That Rams defense, Aaron Donald looks like he's inspired again. People stopped talking about him last year. I think he's obviously dominated against the Seahawks. I still think he's a dominant player in the league. And listen, that Rams defense ain't slouch. Wade Phillips be cooking. Who's their is it still Wade Phillips? Is he still their DC still, or are they moved off from him?
I don't remember actually.
I don't know. I gotta look it up. I don't want to be wrong. Say Wade Phillips, but I like what they cooking up with the Rams. And I can see that team being somebody you don't like. If I'm a 49ers or if I'm a Eagles, a Philadelphia Eagles, I don't want to play the Rams in the first round of playoffs.
It says Raheem Morris.
Great. Yeah, that's still. It was Wade Phillips at first.
He's their DC, right?
He's their DC now. Raheem Morris. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So this next question, because we got a few more left. Actually, let me just see. Let me get to some of these super chats. Hey, J Rob, you read your JJK scriptures. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. RBs need guaranteed contracts. That's all.
They're not even giving quarterbacks guarantee.
Well,
They're starting to get
it's not even
quarterbacks
about
guaranteed
guaranteed
money.
contracts. They need to get rid of running back. Should be excluded from the franchise tag. Who will be the last remaining undefeated team in the NFL? I think it'll be the Cowboys. What about you guys?
How many undefeated teams we got right now? Miami,
I think
Cowboys,
it's the Niners. I think
49ers.
Niners beat Cowboys week 5. So
Lamar,
the Ravens.
I'm
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I'm gonna just say the Cowboys. I'm gonna just throw a team out there because I don't really know. I gotta look. I would have to look at schedules and all. I'm not trying to look.
yeah,
Niners for me.
All right. So this story right here was one of the questions where I said earlier, like I gotta throw the monkey wrench in this. So Sean Payton apparently blames the quarterback publicly in a press conference for the lack of success. The Broncos are now off to an 0-2 start. Will this season prove to be a legacy / narrative changer for Russell Wilson? And do you agree that the 0-2 start by the Broncos is Russell Wilson's fault? Or do you think Sean Payton is deflecting blame on Russ?
did he outright say, "Yo, it's Russell Wilson's fault"?
Yeah, what did he say? Can we get a quote?
Because you've been getting those weird stories since he got there.
I'll get the quote. I ain't gonna lie. He's been saying a lot of quotes about his own man. Let me get the
stop
quote.
trying to kiss babies and worry about your public image. All these weird quotes just been coming out. So I'm thinking he might be just getting ready to throw Russell under the bus.
Because I don't think Russell's played like.
I thought he hasn't played that. He hasn't played
bad in any of the games. I mean, they've lost the games, but I wouldn't say it's all on him.
They lost to the Commanders last game. What was the score of that game, real quick?
Yeah, but that was nasty because wasn't it with like a 20-6 comeback from the Commanders or something like that?
Or 35-33. Like how can you blame?
It's because of the comeback that happened.
You put up 33 points. Yeah, you put up 33 points. I'm out and put out the quarterback.
How you blaming the quarterback for that? Go talk to your defensive coordinator.
3 TDs, 100%. That defense.
Yeah, talk to your defensive coordinator. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
see, like it's never true. It's really hard to say that unless he's terrible. Like certain quarterbacks we know. I'm not going to name drop anybody right now. Unless he's terrible, then it's hard to say that it's only the quarterback's fault.
I say talk to your defensive coordinator. Talk to the fact that you can't develop a running game. Russell Wilson was a leading rusher for the command for that game against
the Broncos don't have a running game right now.
They don't have a running game either. Yeah. Like you got other things that if you're blaming the quarterback for those two, I legitimately think he might just be trying to throw Russell Wilson under the bus. And I know I understand this is Russell Wilson's most important year of his career in terms of how we look at him when he's done playing.
Right.
But all these quotes that are coming out randomly during training camp and all that, and now during the season that he's throwing them under the bus publicly, I'm starting to look at you a little different, Sean. If you they brought you over there for a reason.
So
if you're not going to take,
if we pose the question, could you do it for? It could be for both parts. It could be a legacy.
I'm about to say Sean Payton needs to start getting some overrated. Yeah, I'm gonna say
people starting to be like, oh, what are you without Drew Brees and all that allegation? So it can definitely be both ways. It can go
after 1 year.
Won one Super Bowl with Drew Brees. I don't know why.
I understand that, but you know how the narrative goes.
Yeah, I don't know why Sean Payton held to such high regard. Anyways, like he won one Super Bowl.
Well, he's known as an offensive guy.
He underachieved. I think he underachieved with Drew Brees and the Saints.
Let's not do it with Sean Payton now. Let's just.
I think he underachieved.
Well, to be fair, look at the end.
Yeah, look.
That team,
we know there was a lot of. They had a lot of.
We know one Super Bowl trip was taken away from him with the Rams one when they didn't call the pass interference.
Wait, wait.
They took that one from him. What are you talking about, Jalen?
Wait. The Saints underachieved. You can't even mention that team up and say underachieved.
I think
they got a couple 8 seasons in there.
What team that was supposed to be a favorite or something to where multiple years they were supposed to be doing something and they didn't?
I think they should have made multiple Super Bowls.
I also agree with you.
I mean, I just don't see the difference between him and Mike McCarthy.
Oh wow!
There you go.
Hey,
what's the difference? Tell me the difference. What's the difference?
You think Mike?
What's the difference? Tell me the difference.
Mike McCarthy had the better quarterback.
Play call.
I mean, maybe the play call. I mean, yeah, Breeze's numbers look great, but what's the difference?
McCarthy had the better quarterback.
What's the difference?
McCarthy had the better quarterback.
Yo, hold on. Trent, keep it a buck.
I think it's play calling.
Mike McCarthy, you watching Mike McCarthy call some great plays right now in Dallas. What's the difference?
You comparing two games? Come on, bro. Come on,
Yeah.
Bro, it looks good.
But at the
you
same
can't
time,
do that offer years of Sean Payton.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
I
we
don't
didn't
see
have
the
Drew
difference.
Brees coming
I
at
don't
Tom
see the
Payton like Aaron
difference.
Rodgers came at Mike
But
McCarthy. I'm
let's
just saying,
okay. Well, okay, let's get into a serious note though. Serious note,
Mm.
serious note here, fellas. Serious note here because these last 3 questions I really want to get to them because I think they're important. I think they'll start a good conversation. So this is one that I think is just important. I feel like as a platform, when things need to be talked about or just addressed, I think it's important to address them. And I don't think this is being talked about enough on mainstream media. So I'm going to do it here. The last week, we have seen a number of fan-related fights in the NFL, and these videos have gone viral on Twitter. But this one is when, okay, guys, we need to start talking about this as a problem. So this past weekend, one of these fan-related fights resulted in the death of Patriots fan Dan Mooney, who had been punched in the face and obviously probably suffered a brain bleed or aneurysm, resulting in his death. And he was at the game with his son. He was killed by a fan of the Dolphins. How should the NFL and the owners address these issues? And do you see any resolution to this problem being addressed this year?
I mean, in terms of addressing the problem, I was going to say, I mean, I think the big thing is probably you have passionate fans who are really drunk. I think a lot of situations is that, like, if they really wanted to do something, if they wanted to limit or ban alcohol in their stadiums because of this, to send a message, I think obviously that'd be a huge message. They won't do it because the amount of money they make off that, is insane. They're not going to do that. I just think there's really not much as organizations can really do. Because at the end of the day, you need your fans there. You can't control them so much. Again, you know what I mean? They're watching the game. They're going to get hyped. Fans are going to be yelling at each other. Just as people, we got to take better. We have to hold ourselves accountable. Go to the games, have a good time. Talk your shit to people and don't fight. It's just very simple. You just can't fight. Obviously, when you're young, I'm assuming these guys probably in their, maybe earlier 20s or in their 20s, getting in fights. People go with their families and their kids. Obviously, most likely aren't going to, try to fight at a game. But in terms of stuff an organization can do, other than putting out a statement, I don't really think the organization is really going to do much. Increasing security, if that'll help, sure, security probably should have got there a little earlier. And 2, this whole culture of if you see 2 people, going at it,
you should break it up. Yeah,
don't
should
take out
break
your
it
phone.
up.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
phone is what be killing
exactly,
me.
Yeah. Don't be videotaping. Now, if you're like, if you're like a child or,
like, bro, these men be out, these be grown men out here hitting women.
That's
you
what
fight,
I'm saying.
they like these folks' kids be around, and I'm like,
100%.
I understand, like, mind your people want to mind their business, but I mean, I just come on, man. DP, I know you wanted to say something. Go ahead, DP.
To be honest, like I said, it's alcohol. It's alcohol and fans that don't even know nothing about nothing. This is the highlight of their day, their week, their year. They're going to a whatever game, and they're in there talking their mess, and somebody don't like what gets said. It is what it is. The problem is the biggest sponsor of the NFL is alcohol brands, right? So that's not going anywhere.
Facts.
I think the only thing that they could do is with some of these fights, put out, hey, we're not escorting people out for fights no more. Charges are automatically getting pressed on you.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, right, people just get escorted out the game. And then they don't care. They get their clout. Hey, I just beat somebody. Hey, Philadelphia got a jail under their stadium.
Damn. To be fair, Philly fans get wild, though. I understand.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
You're going to jail.
Yeah, they dad do that.
So,
You don't have to have it in your stadium, right? That was probably built in when it happened.
Yeah,
so
facts.
You got to start pressing charges on these fans and creating a safer environment. I've just seen every weekend. I've seen not a fight. These are brawls. These are right.
They're brawls, bro. Yes, facts.
You're not going by yourself,
Facts.
so you're not getting into a one guy. It's a group of guys versus another group of guys every time. And I'm talking about this is at every stadium, and it's getting out of hand because kids can't even be safe. People leaning over, chairs, people falling down. The one at the Cowboys game, I believe it was like 20 people fighting. So until y'all start pressing some hard charges and putting those implemented into the stadium, rules, guys are gonna keep fighting. But when you gotta sit some time in that jail and get that huge fine because you fought in Cowboy Stadium, you're gonna start thinking about swinging.
No, they do need to press. They need to press charges, and I also think, listen, y'all got too much. These teams got too much money. Like, it's time to amp up security because at the end of the day, y'all have enough security to have security surveying every single row. DP, you hit it on the nose. You make some of these sports teams, like the specific team, they're partnered with alcohol brands, specific ones. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the ones that are like the NFL partnered brands, like there's local alcohols that they are, so they're not getting rid of that money or that revenue or those sponsorships. But there needs to be some sort of extra sense of security. Go ahead, Random. I don't even want to get it. It just, when I think about it, it's so frustrating. Go ahead, Random. I know you Sean.
I think the obviously the maybe finding a way to limit alcohol, finding a way to keep track, because obviously alcohol is a big part of it. Is there anything like maybe we kind of try splitting, like, you know how college does, where like we'll put
split the fans,
that, so like maybe we'll put Dolphin fans over here,
but they do that. They do that though. They do that. Yeah, they do that. I just want you to know they already do that. They try to do that already.
It's just tough because unless somebody's like you said, J-Rob, like put more money into security, because this cannot happen. Like, for instance, the Boston DA is investigating that death right now. They're trying to figure out exactly what happened. They got the stuff. Like, once you start, this stuff continues to happen. It's not just here. You see one every game. If they add more, that made my thing is add more security. Way more security.
Put a drone in the sky, bro. Put a drone in the air where you could. I'm serious though. I know that sounds excessive, but y'all have the money, technology, and everything to amp up the safety for fans. Because to me, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a very tough situation. Obviously, now it's unrealistic to think that these organizations are going to stop serving alcohol to the people who are legally can drink alcohol. So that's not going to happen. The increased security thing is definitely a viable solution, especially if you make sure that their patrols are a lot more thorough and a lot more frequent to ensure that they are covering a better basis, especially if it's not a drone, especially if you have like cameras around the stadium that is able to alert certain things, because there's hidden cameras in like Kohl's, for example. So you can have hidden cameras so you can better alert to potential, things that could happen in the future. At the end of the day, one of the things they have to do with the press charges, that's very important, but you have a stronger deterrent to it. Make sure that there's no potential harm. And that starts from even the most minor things. If someone's starting to yell, things like, bro, that's strike one, you better chill out, because this is a potential thing that could get worse in the future. Because you're never going to know how someone's going to potentially die, but when things can start getting heated. So once you have better and more strict punishments to the point where the fans know that if I mess up even a little bit, then I can, 1, be charged, 2, get banned from the stadium, or 3, they can go a step further. I don't know if they would go a step further to the point where we're going to IP ban you and you can't access our product at all if you were like that, if you're one of those terrible people. So there are ways to make sure that there are sooner deterrents to prevent further escalation.
Right. They stop selling beer usually after the end of the third quarter. Trent, you got one? You got something? We might have been away.
So I know a lot of people were talking about.
Let Trent go.
Oh, my bad.
Just check something quick, but nah, it's just, bro, like, this is a sad thing. Like how you said, it's mad drunk people out there watching football, be wilding out. But yeah, bro, like what DP said, like the Eagles, I seen it. The Eagles got a jail under the stadium. Like it's either that, like you got to get the mean fine, bro. Something got to happen. Somebody dying over a football game
is ridiculous.
Ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. That's all I really
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this part before you go random, because I just got to say this to those fans out there who go to games and get belligerently drunk and want to fight. You are a fucking loser. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you, because at the end of the day, we passionate about this sports stuff, but realistically, the fact that you're fighting somebody over, to be completely honest, a bunch of people out there on the field who you not even thought about in their day-to-day life. You thinking more about them players on their field than they're ever thinking about you. And I hate to sound like that guy, but I'm gonna put that in a reality for you. You are a cornball. You are a loser. And to that person that punched that man in front of his son and killed that dad in front of his son, like, rest in peace, Dan Mooney. His son is forever scarred because you're a loser. You fighting over the Dolphins. You that happy that the Dolphins won? Like, bro, at the end of the day, passion for a team, bias towards a team, don't result in violence, and you cornballs just look like absolute idiots and dumbasses for the way
It's
I
wild
act.
to go
And
out
I don't
and be
feel
that
bad for
crazy.
using the words that I'm using to describe you, because you are literally ruining a moment for a lot of people because you're a jackass who can't drink in peace. They need to start legalizing weed for some of y'all asses in these stadiums. So y'all calm y'all stupid asses down. Go ahead, Random.
It is just crazy to get that faded, especially publicly like that, where you're in a place like that. Instead, if you're that faded that you're fighting, you're not even watching the game, you're not even watching your Dolphins win the game, you're too busy caring about that. Obviously, people with family and all that, you never know what could happen. So it's just crazy that you got to do that. I'm very interested, Riddell. I like what you said about, obviously, I think the money that's going to take to do that. Like, you can't even access our product anymore. I like that though. You like, hey,
no NFL red zone, no NFL nothing.
Same way, like,
bro, I didn't
see
same
way when you get banned from the NFL, and then you just, because I've seen people like, oh, I got banned from the Patriots, and they try to go to like a Steelers game. They're like, what you doing over here, bro? Get on out of here,
bro. I didn't seen
like,
it myself. I didn't seen it myself, bro. Like, after the Giants beat the Vikings in the playoffs, literally, I'm walking out trying to find a lip. They getting it on the snow, dude, leaking, getting fucked up. But it's just like, bro, like, that shit's mad unnecessary, bro. Like,
absolutely
it's unnecessary, bro. Like, you don't. That shit does not need to happen, bro. Because it's a horrible look, bro.
I don't think
terrible look, bro. It looked crazy, and then you go viral every time. You go viral every time.
Yeah, and sometimes it goes beyond alcohol. There is a certain level of entitlement for people when they go like, "Hey, you're disrespecting me. Now I got a box." So at that point, it's like people think that they have to keep this sense of pride to a point where anytime they feel slightly disrespected, even if it's about a sports game, they feel like they got to man up, put the fists up, and do what they got to do, which is crazy, especially considering a potential result is death.
Bro, I seen one where this girl smacked this brother, smacked him right in front of her, next to her boyfriend. I felt bad for her boyfriend.
Right?
Yeah,
what is he supposed to do? Like, now your girl just hit a guy because she's drunk and it's a football game. Now this big, bruh,
slept the boyfriend,
slept the boyfriend, and the boyfriend ain't wasn't even no smoke. He just wanted to watch the game. Like, shit is weird. But all right, let's get into this next topic because this is where things get kind of nasty. So after week 2, what is your biggest overreaction and what is your biggest underreaction from 2 weeks into the NFL? I'll set the tone. Actually, I'll go first. My biggest overreaction is CJ Stroud looks like the next superstar quarterback in the NFL. That's my biggest overreaction, just because I feel like all them throws that make everybody say you gotta make for the highlights, all them throws. CJ Stroud is making all of them throws. He's throwing with your favorite quarterback. I'm letting you know right now. CJ Stroud in that pocket throwing with your favorite quarterback. I guess my biggest overreaction too would just be I think he'll end up having the better career than Bryce Young.
Okay.
My biggest underreaction, the 2-0 Falcons. Because I gotta see Desmond Ridder against somebody that's worth a damn, because that conservative offense, I don't know if that's something. So my biggest underreaction right now is the 2-0 Falcons.
Facts. I'll go. I'll start off with underreaction before I piss off someone on the panel. So,
wow, this bug! I swear, I know what he's gonna say too.
So my underreaction is that the Vikings are 0-2, and watching those games, I'm like, bro, stop with the turnovers, and maybe you'll win the game. So.
They sold Kirk Cousins, I swear.
I'm still.
He's selling you right now, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, Kirk was cooking the Eagles.
He's great for fantasy.
Absolutely.
Great quarterback for fantasy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. My overreaction, like I said, I'm gonna piss off someone on the panel. Justin Herbert is a choke artist. And we'll see how the season ends.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Wait, Trent, don't comment on that because you have another question that has something to do with Justin Herbert. So we'll go ahead, Trent. Overreaction.
My overreaction. I predicted it before the season started. I don't like from the Texans. I'm gonna say it again. Do not be surprised if Tank Dell is a dark horse for offensive rookie of the year. That connection with him and CJ is great.
It's looking great.
People are always trying to tell, oh, he's a 5'8" receiver, this and that. When you run routes the way Tank do, you're going to get open.
Open, facts.
But underreaction, bruh. My underreaction is Jordan Love.
Okay.
Yeah, like I didn't expect like he's just playing how I think he was gonna play. Like he's playing really good football, and he was under for Aaron Rodgers for a long time, so he's gonna be pretty good in this league. That's my reaction.
I like it. Random under overreaction.
All right, my underreaction. Maybe just because I'm just curious about how this man is going to continue to just mess up the end of his thing. But my underreaction is the Bill Belichick 0-2 Patriots.
Okay.
I'm just like, eventually you're gonna lose a few more games. Now we're gonna start blaming Mac Jones. I'm still never gonna forget you said I'm about to throw this DC on here to call plays, and we just gonna forget.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We don't talk about that nearly enough.
We don't. Don't.
We do not. We
agree.
We should be putting that dude on a grill and killing him.
He should be simmering for that. For sure.
My overreaction. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks are going to the playoffs. Woo! Baker Mayfield and the Bucks are going to the playoffs. He's been cooking. He's been cooking. The best quarterback in the NFC South. I said it. I said it.
He's wilding. Is Butter Mayfield back? Is my dog Butter?
I will say this though, Fox. I don't appreciate y'all on that Mike Evans 70-yard run. Y'all put the camera on his face, knowing he wasn't gonna make it to the end zone. Y'all showed him. Oh, I got it, baby.
Oh, man, I'm not mad at it though. Baker has been cooking though.
He's been cooking. Woo.
I like it.
Derek Carr.
DP, who do we got? Over underreaction. Biggest over.
I will say my overreaction would be that boy Bijan Robinson. That boy a fool. Hey, when I see guys like that, it just hurts me to know that they're like on the Falcons. just think about like the Eagles trading up to get somebody like that. Like,
yeah.
Like, it just makes you want to be like, when you're like, I always think about this all the time. When you're getting drafted, especially like a first round guy, I'm like, is there like something you can do in the media that be like, you know what? And running back's a little different because they're contracts, but just let's say a player in general. Like, man, I really could go number 6, or I could put out a fake story about me being a bad guy that's only going to drop me to 15.
Right.
It's going to make me more money on the back end.
Facts.
Because I'm going to be on a better team and have higher production. Like quarterbacks too, right? They always want to go number 1, but then you play on the trash Panthers or whatever. When you could have went to, let's say, the Packers or the Ravens like Lamar. Like, I hate seeing guys like Bijan go to like trash teams, and they're 2-0, right? But Ritter, I feel like I know where the Falcons are going to probably end up, and it's probably not going to be in the playoffs. Ritter's probably not going to be their long-term quarterback.
Right.
Bijan going to be by year 3 ran into the ground type stuff. But that dude is amazing. The way he runs the ball, the way he hits the hole, his explosiveness, and he catches the ball out the backfield. He's legitimately one of the best right now. I got like McCaffrey, Chubb before he got hurt, and then like Henry's ain't been Henry, and like Bijan.
Yeah,
top 3 already in my eyes.
I'm not mad at that. Yo, he's better than hella running backs already.
Like Saquon stay hurt, right?
Eckler, we always forget.
I feel like maybe outside of like what Eckler, C-Mac.
He's better than Austin Eckler. He is
better than Eckler. He is better
than Eckler.
You put Bijan back there getting all them catches.
Jonathan Taylor's like, there's not too many guys. I ain't gonna lie. If I would say, I'll say this. I'm not gonna say top 3, but I'll say this. He's definitely in my top 5. Already. He's only taken 2 games, but let's be honest, DP, who didn't know he was going to be this good out the gate?
Yeah, like dudes are and I knew he was going to be it because you got to be a dog just to go number 31 in the NFL draft as a running back. You can be the last pick of the draft. In the first round, that means you're a dog. To be in the top 10 means you're a super dog. But to see how fast he's picked it up, though,
Yeah.
and he looked more explosive than he did at UT. And trust me, he hit
taking
my
people's
KU
ankles.
boys for 260 last year
Right.
in Lawrence. And then I think my biggest underreaction is Jamar Chase with 10 catches for 70 through 2 games out there with him and Joe. So I think it's not even Jamar. It's more of him and the Joe Burrow connection, because if Joe Burrow's playing so bad, it's just like production is king, right? And everybody's situation is different. But I told people before last year that JJ was going to be JJ. And no matter what happens, how bad they're getting beat, how much they're winning by, it's like 130, 150, 200. 130, 150, 200. Chase has a lot of up and downs, and then Chase will hit you for 240, but then he'll give you 2 more weeks of 45 and 50.
Right.
And I think that's a thing that they got to get fixed. He's not super consistent, him and Joe. It's a lot of this really highs and lows right there with the Bengals and Jamar Chase.
J-Rob, I got a question for you real quick.
Hold on. I'm going to hear Jalen's over under reaction, though. I didn't ask me. Yeah,
yeah, I guess to add on to DP there, I think with the Bengals, not really too worried about them. I think Joe Burrow gets more reps. I think they're still a playoff team, could still make noise in the playoffs. That offense, I mean, with Higgins and Chase, they'll be fine. Defensively, their run defense, a little worrisome. But I think overall as a defense, I think they'll be fine. You know, I think they'll be a contender in the AFC. The overreaction, I mean, I didn't expect the Commanders to offensively to be this guy. Brian Robinson Jr. is a lot better than I expected. I think he's a guy that I did not expect. Terry McLaurin still hasn't had a huge game, but I mean, with him and Sam Howell, I got to give credit
The
to
most
him.
underrated receiver in the league.
Super
Scary
poised,
Terry.
throws the ball, can make all the throws. I really like him. And that defense, again, I think they have the pieces. Just I don't think they haven't fully put it together yet. But this team, another team, we talk about parity in the NFL. Got a team like the Commanders, man. They get hot at the right time. They have the pieces. I would not be shocked if they make a deep run.
I've always said I don't know if the Giants are just better than them. I just don't. I haven't been able to just look on paper, and I've looked at the games, and I'm like, I don't really see how I'm looking at the Giants, and I'm seeing them finishing third over this team at clear cut. Like,
yeah,
you know, this Commanders teams might go looking like they may go 1-1 with the Eagles this year. God damn it! On the catch them lacking at home, catch them in Washington. You know, that's when it happens. This is when you had that division game at home, middle of the year. You 100%. Catch them sleeping.
Chase Young is alive too now. So
Chase Young is back. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Allen's good. De'Aaron Payne, they got some things. St. Justy in the secondary. That team's good. Shona, what was your question?
I'm genuinely curious on your end since you're a Jets fan. I had this debate with, I think it was JJ because he's a Falcons fan. And I was like, I don't know when, but I'm sold on Breece Hall. I don't know when, but I think moving forward, I still got Breece Hall. Do you think Bijan will surpass Breece Hall, or do you think he's better than Breece Hall right now?
I mean, I think Breece is like legitimately a 6 through 8 right now. And that's only because the guys at the top are so good. I think with Chubb, obviously, and being out, if I were to do the 5 best backs, because Chubb is out, it would be Saquon, Bijan, C-Mac, probably Henry, and then I'd go Breece. So that'll probably be the guys I'll go with. But right now, Bijan is better than Breece. As much as I don't really want to admit it, it is what it is. But, you know, Breece is still top 5 level quarterback. Running back. I think he's one of the 5 best running backs in the league right now anyway, because Chubb literally just got hurt. Like, for me, Breece was like 6'7" anyway.
It's definitely close, so I'm not mad at it. But Robert Saleh giving him 4 carries is nasty. That is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of being tampering down with him because, you know, he's coming over ACL. You just don't want to lose a guy like that, especially because, you know, you didn't really bring Dalvin to be your home run hitter. You know, he's kind of like your jab. Breece is kind of like your knockout, your hook shot, you know. So, you know, we'll see. But all right, here's the last question before we slide. Herbert has 10 losses when leading in the fourth quarter, the most since 2020.
Interesting.
Herbert has 10 losses when leading in the fourth quarter, the most since 2020. Question: is this on the coach, Brandon Staley, or is there some responsibility to be had towards Justin Herbert? What do you guys think, panel?
Mookie, I know you're listening, and I need you to hear me. I need you to hear me real nice. Your boy can't finish.
Oh, what is it?
Your
What
boy
does that
can't
mean?
finish it off.
What does that mean?
He
What is he?
can't. He can't win them close games,
Bro,
bro.
what is he? Not random. Say it with me. What is he?
A choke artist.
Artist. Yes,
He's
sir.
a choke
Let's
artist.
go. Yes,
Because
sir.
hey, for as much as you want to talk about Lamar, Mookie, what Lamar been doing? Going to the playoffs constantly. Okay, has with less talent, going to playoffs constantly. Other Joe Burrow coming off an injury, still made a Super Bowl run with a worse offensive line. Your team stacked with talent, Mookie, and you. I can't. The fact that we let them do a gridiron where it sounded like they were glazing Justin Herbert for 2 hours, not putting enough blame on the man. Oh, what they do? They pivoted to Burrow. They probably talked about Lamar at some point. They said Lamar the most protected quarterback. Lamar's the most protected quarterback?
That's not
At
true.
one point, they were killing him because he couldn't win a playoff game.
As a rookie.
As a rookie, what are we talking about? We have not given Justin Herbert near enough blame for what he's done. The fact that he out here doing a 28-3 or whatever the hell that was, making Matt Ryan say clap because he knows that was a great choke job in the playoffs. All these other contemporaries making playoff runs. Where's Justin Herbert been? Sitting at home with all his talent, not closing the deal when he needs to. And you say he's a top 3, top 5 quarterback? Nah, Mookie, keep it 100. Keep it 100.
Oh shit. DP, what do you think? What do you have to say?
Man, we've been discussing this I feel for the last few, right? Because it continues to happen. And my theory behind it is like, bro, you gotta just make a play. Like they're showing like the touchdowns, the completion percentage, no interceptions, but that's not what it's about. It's about getting that last first down when it's 3rd and 4. If you get the first down, the game is over. You can throw for 1,000 yards, but if we need 5 yards to win this game, we need that. It's not about interceptions. Tupac Shadour, as everybody's calling him, threw an interception in the Colorado State game. How much has it been talked about?
Nobody even thinks about it.
You don't think about it because we remember 98 yards to go with
Brady
less
mode.
than 2 minutes. Then we remember overtime, touchdown, overtime, touchdown. And this is the thing. Deion talked about this. When you have a guy like Shador, even though that's his dad, but Deion's still a coach and he's trying to win games, right? This ain't Pee-wee. Let my son be the hero. Hey, you're that guy, and I know you're going to get it done. What does 99.9% of people do in overtimes in college? You go second because you want to know if they kick a field goal, we just need a touchdown to win the game. You know the play calling is based off of that. Deion said, hey, son, I know what you do. Go out here and put pressure on these boys, and we know we're going to score.
I love that decision to put the ball in Shadour's hand first. Not even give him a chance. We're going to set the tone. That was awesome.
Exactly, and that's the difference, right? Is Deion knows he has a closer. That would be the equivalent of being in the NFL, winning the toss. We want the ball because I know my quarterback is going to score. I got Patrick Mahomes. We're not even giving him a chance to score on us. Pat, take the ball first. Go score a touchdown. Don't let him touch it.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, DP, because what did the Chargers do in overtime when they won the coin toss? They gave it to Justin Herbert. What happened? He punted the ball away. The Titans got the ball, and then they scored a field goal. So
you had a chance.
You had a chance. Because if that was Lamar, Mookie would be on here roasting him right now. Would be on here roasting him right now.
I gotta go with this. Listen. I 100%, I will say this. There are very much times where I really want Justin Herbert to use his takeover badge. And what I mean about just takeover badge is like you've seen it from Lamar, you've seen it from Patrick, you've even seen it from Josh Allen, where the rubber hits the road, they just make a play. You know, like they just make a play off the fact that they are the franchises on their backs and they have to go out there and just make a play. And I do think in some situations, I really wish Justin Herbert would take the bull by the horns in more of those 2-minute end of game situations. I could understand the Chargers' lack of defense, but Ben Garcia came up here and told y'all that the Chargers have put a lot of money into that defense. getting all these big name players to do this and that. At the end of the day, y'all can say it's a bad defense. Maybe it's a bad schematic. Maybe it's bad schematics by the DC, because a defense that has Asante Samuel Jr., Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Khalil Mack. Like, when is everybody going to start recognizing all the huge names that are on that defense? The J.C. Jacksons of the world. Like, how many scrubs are actually on the Chargers defense? 27 points could be a lot, but tell me the bum that's on that defense. All these players are paid high-level money to work on that defense. So I can't always be hearing about how many points is given up, because all of these quarterbacks, all the top quarterbacks, Lamar, Mahomes, Josh Allen, when they're in shootouts, they're just expected to perform. A shootout is a shootout. That's what it comes down to. You got to get they get a touchdown, you got to get a touchdown. That's how some games go. Let's not remember, you watch Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes put up 56 and 55 points just in a game, in a complete shootout, with a defense that had Aaron Donald on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these games happen. That's a part of it. And do I think Brandon Staley is a great coach? I'm not really sold. I keep telling y'all, I think he has the hottest seat in the country right now. The hottest coaching seat is that Chargers seat. But at the same time, you got to look at your quarterback too, because I could give you a lot of examples of this. Like, the only quarterback that I say I'd be like, yo, he has all this grace in the world is Justin Herbert. Every time that, and this is my thing that I find a little bit weird, and this is all I have to say, because I don't think all the responsibility is on him, but I do think, like Angie Carr says, he has a bit of plot armor like anime, because when they lose games, even I think from a media perspective, depending on who you ask, they're looking for the other reasons not to blame Justin Herbert. And that's what I find to be a little disingenuous, because if we all watch the tape, the numbers going to look phenomenal, but I can name DP. We can look at the tape and name a few moments where Justin probably could have been better. So I'm just saying that I don't think and the thing is, I think because you're not, another thing I think with Justin Herbert, if you're not all in, you're a hater. And I think all of us recognize the talent that he is. If we're talking about just pure physical God-given gifts, he's probably one of the 5 most talented quarterbacks in football right now, just off what God-given ability he has. So nobody's saying he sucks. I just think the problem is people hate the standard in which we hold Justin Herbert to. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think Josh Allen has the most dominant defense behind him. Tua Tagovailoa don't have a dominant defense by him, I don't think. No, there's a lot of teams that are not playing behind quarterbacks, playing behind all-world defenses. And I think until Justin has a top 10 defense, then we can start putting the blame on him. But to me, it still feels like even if they had a top 10 defense, he blew a 28-0 lead. His defense had 4 takeaways, and y'all still telling me about Brandon Staley. You know what I'm saying? Like,
crazy.
So I don't know when we gotta. I think we gotta just start really allocating responsibility to not just Brandon Staley, but to the quarterback. Because if we go on the tape, the numbers will look great. But you know who else's number look great? Y'all gonna call me nasty for this? Kirk Cousins.
Yes, sir.
He puts up phenomenal numbers every year. But this is what happened. Shout out to Hydro. These old Emmanuel Acho social media QB allegations might be coming back. I don't even want to say social media quarterback because he's dead nice. He is must-see TV.
Yeah.
But he low-key do got plot armor.
Go ahead,
D.
You got to win a game. You got to win a game.
You got to win the game, man. What was the stat again, J-Rob? What was that stat again?
10 losses when leading in the fourth quarter, the most since 2020. So this is my thing, DP, showing
almost half a decade.
10 losses when leading in the fourth quarter since 2020. Can we put all 10 losses on Brandon Staley, guys? Like, can we?
No,
you
really?
Can't. That's what
I'm saying.
That's what you got to.
First
That's why I got to ask. I got to ask the chat.
Staley.
I got to ask the chat too. Like, chat. This is a question to y'all. I really want to see your comments. Herbert has 10 losses when leading the fourth quarter, the most since 2020. Is that all on Brandon Staley? Because
the best guys, think about this. The best guys are coming back in the fourth quarter. Pat Mahomes coming
Pat
back.
Mahomes'
Joe
percentage
Burrow
in the
making
fourth quarter is
comeback.
crazy.
Shoot, Tony Romo was making some comeback. Yeah, he tricked some, but like the best guys in the league are expected to come back, let alone stop losing the leads. Right? So that's what I don't understand about what his people that they can compare him to. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. None of them have stellar defenses.
Pat Mahomes too. I forgot Mahomes. He don't got one
they don't
either.
have stellar like the Chiefs defense. Boy, them boys, they have a couple of good guys on there. But namely Chris Jones. Like, who's their secondary guys? Like, right?
All rookies. Most of them are
Legarius
second-year
Sneed.
guys. I think the Chiefs
like-
secondary is all year 2 guys.
So
Except
what I
Legarius
think
Sneed.
is,
He's been there for a little bit.
Where Justin Herbert is talked about and what he's paid like, he's paid and talked about like he's the guy that's making fourth quarter comeback. When he's actually the guy that's losing fourth quarter leads.
Right.
So
and that's the other thing. Right. Go ahead, DP.
Double digits in Super Bowls to win them.
So
I agree.
I want to
I
say something.
agree.
I want to say something because
No
I
problem.
was one of those guys. I'm glad I'm on this episode. I'm so glad I'm on this episode because I was one of those guys that I initially said
Peace
like
Cottage.
a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe on open field after the Dolphins lost. I told I was watching the game, Dolphins Chargers, and when the Dolphins missed the field goal, the extra point, and all the Chargers needed is a field goal to win the game, not even tie it, to win the game. This is what I told my friend. I told him, bro, Herbert's going to choke. And what happened? Couldn't do anything on offense. And then we see the Titans game. What happened again? He choked again. And when J-Rob says this, because he said this on Gridiron, and I agree with it, Justin Herbert for me can make all the throws. He can throw dots and he can throw great angles. But when the game is on the line, he gets so conservative, and the Brandy Staley point is moot now. He has Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator. We know Kellen Moore likes to air out the ball, and Kellen Moore is using the run game with Austin Eckler, which they didn't for people's excuse for the 28 blown lead. Oh, they didn't run the ball enough. Well, now they're running the ball with Austin Eckler, and he's doing a pretty good job. So in terms of the offense, I don't care about the defense right now. In terms of the offense, there's really no more excuses for Herbert to be so conservative and not willing to make that play. That's how you distinguish Justin Herbert, or that's how you distinguish a Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers in his prime from all the other guys. This is how you become the elite of the elite. That's how you enter that discussion. That's how you enter, oh yeah, he may be an all-time great. All these stats, they cool. And let's recognize the Chargers are on a good team. But if he doesn't clean this up, and hopefully he can, he's a young quarterback. Like, what are we saying? Is he really, and I hate to say this, I do, is he Phillip Rivers 2.0 at that point? Like, is that what he's gonna be when his career ends?
He's gonna have a lot of. He's gonna have a lot of great. He's gonna definitely always put up numbers. But see, and this is why I keep saying to y'all, like, and I don't understand. This is why I will always not understand why people don't think winning matters when it comes to quarterbacks. Because the reason why quarterbacks get replaced, why do quarterbacks get replaced? Because they don't feel like they're conducive to winning. I'm going to tell you, like, for example, Jimmy G. Why did they want Jimmy G out of the 49ers? His winning percentage was over. He won 70% of his games.
They didn't think
he was conducive to a championship. Right. Exactly. So ultimately, that standard, you can talk about the defense and that, but Justin Herbert has to be held to that standard because ultimately winning is the stat that matters at the end of the day. And it is, and forever to me, it will always matter with the quarterback because quarterbacks get replaced because of their ability to win football games, not because it is a team sport, but the quarterback, the ship lives and dies with the quarterback. So
okay, I've been watching this. Go ahead,
Let me
DP.
give y'all one quick comparison, real quick. I actually don't think we should compare Justin Herbert to Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins actually gets a lot of his potential ability out there, and Kirk Cousins is who he is. We've never mentioned him as a top 5 quarterback. I think we should compare Justin Herbert to Jay Cutler.
Why? Whoa, why?
Because the reason why I say Jay Cutler, big arm, everything you want in a quarterback. Can throw it, had Brandon Marshall, had defenses, and could never win. he was a more prototypical Jay Cutler. Kirk Cousins was actually the soccer
trying
guy.
to get Mookie on here for real,
right? His season in his
That's
NFL career came
That
off
is
a 4th-round draft pick the same year RG3 was the 2nd pick. He ended up becoming something that we did not think he would be. Where Jay Cutler was one of those guys. He was the highest paid guy in the NFL at a moment where it's just like, bro, you have everything. You throw the ball harder than anybody. You got receivers. You got running backs. You got a defense, and you can't do nothing. I think Kirk Cousins actually plays to a lot of his potential. I think Jay Cutler was one of those guys that played well below his ability.
I don't know about that.
Cutler, I'm crying.
I don't know about that. How about that?
But is losing their minds. You got some people losing their mind right now.
Yeah, Gerald, let me get this off real quick. So I've been watching this dude Skullboy in the chat. He's saying, yeah, when the Chargers defense gives up 27 points, it like he loses. Justin Herbert loses. You know what, Skull? You can throw all the numbers you want at me, all the numbers you want. The craziest part is it's a trend now. You heard the stat from J-Rob. When the like Tigger says, when it's time to pull up your pants and put your nuts on the table, what does Justin Herbert do? He loses the game. He loses the game. You can throw his numbers show he's better than Mahomes, Allen, Burrow in shootouts. He loses the game.
Yeah.
Look at the first two things of this season. Him and Tua swapping points, baby. Oh, it looks good. But like Riddell said, they missed the extra point. Any other quarterback who's in the same tier that we put Herbert in, what do we expect them to do? Drive down the field, get a field.
That's all I'm saying. That's all, and that's what I keep trying to say. Like Skullboy, all of y'all talking to me about shit that don't matter to me because y'all talking about all these advanced analytics and the defense this, the defense that. I'm sorry, none of these quarterbacks to me that we're talking about. If I look at Joe Burrow, I look at Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, those guys don't have elite defenses. And y'all talking to me about the defense. And I think all of us are just trying to say, like, always saying is like, yo, sometimes you gotta win your shootouts. Like, I'm not saying everyone you can't get a stop, but at the end of the day, all these other quarterbacks we talking about, y'all gonna talk about how they couldn't get it done, not what else didn't go wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it's always going. Like, some of y'all were so quick to jump on Mahomes when they lost to the Bucks in the Super Bowl, and I could have bailed out Mahomes and said all this about the defense, the domination, but realistically, he still went out there and played. So it is what it is. I'm just saying, Justin Herbert, and the thing is, we all acknowledge Justin Herbert's talent. We just want him to play up to it. But with that being said, that's our time chat. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next week for a riveting episode of Press Box. Make sure y'all tune in to Open Field tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, NFL edition, right, J-Rob?
Yeah, NFL edition. Y'all be good, chat. Y'all have a great day.
Easy. Skullboy, how many more times you need to see Justin Herbert?